The race about to get underway then, and this is how they line up. Based on the results of round one, number 1 Dalma Marine on pole, with Qatar 94 second and 19 Pro Marine third. 10 La Vida Loca, 14 Kingfisher and 8 Fazza complete the top 6. And we've got one of our onboards on the nose of Qatar 94 for today's race, looking back at Khalid Al Shamlan and Mohammed Al Nasser, who start second. There's a big field of 22 boats in total, and given the tight nature of the course, they'll be split into 2 groups for a staggered start. Also running it on board for us today, number 8 Fazza, and this is the view over the shoulder of Nadir bin Hindi, who needs a good start from 6th place. Officer of the day, Nasser Al-Daheri, raises the green flag, and round 2 of the XCAT series gets underway, and it's a terrible start for the pole sitters as about 6 other boats get the jump on them. Qatar 94 charging into the lead, and over on the far side, the white boat of Abu Dhabi Racing also up there. Meanwhile, we're on board with our leaders. Another magnificent start for the Qatar team. To the right of the pitch, you can see the white Dalma Marine boat dropping back. And then over to the left, that's the black machine of number 8, Fazza, challenging Abu Dhabi Racing for 2nd position. And now we're in the thick of the battle with Fazza. Number 4, Abu Dhabi Racing, a few metres to the right. And just behind them both, we've got La Vida Loca, also making a strong start. There to the right, a quick glimpse of Fazza, so it's 3 abreast in the battle for 2nd. Up ahead, we're catching the wake from the lead boat. The Italians get a real hosing here, but the throttle stays down, and in fact, it's the black boat of Fazza which is dropping back. So Qatar lead, Abu Dhabi 2nd, La Vida Loca 3rd, on board with Fazza in 4th, Dalma Marine slipping back to 5th place. Here's the American team of 19 Pro Marine, and it looks like they've also dropped back from 3rd at the start. Around the mark, they're hot on the heels of the British Kingfisher boat, which I think puts them back in 7th place. Meanwhile, Abu Dhabi Racing still just about have their noses in front in this battle for 2nd with La Vida Loca. Here are our leaders heading around the far turn on what's an extended first lap. This is literally the only time in the race there'll be anything like out to sea. A healthy lead, perhaps even better than the lightning start they made in Dubai. Abu Dhabi Racing are going to make 2nd place stick as La Vida Loca take a wide line on a determined piece of driving from Fazza as they squeeze in just ahead of Dalma Marine for 4th place. But on the exit, they're getting a bit crossed up in the wake, and bang, straight over the buoy with a hefty whack. Now, technically, you can get penalised for cutting the course, but I don't exactly think they gained an advantage there, so they might get away with that one. Either way, it's allowed Dalma Marine to draw level with them as the pair head back towards the harbour. Driver's eye view from Fazza as Nadir bin Hindi looks smooth and controlled. To his left, though, the current series leaders, the number 1 boat of Dalma Marine, Rashid Al-Mari and Salim Fadel Al-Hamli, trying to make a move on the outside, but into the turn, Fazza keep it tight, and Dalma Marine stay out wide. In fact, they're drifting very wide there, and they've lost the opportunity to get back up to 4th. So Fazza avoid losing the place, but that mistake definitely cost them some time, and they've lost touch with the top 3. The leaders thunder back along the Abu Dhabi coastline, and what's that to the right of the picture? A boat flipping in the distance. Well, it was definitely a white boat, and it came from near the front of the pack. And now the 2 white boats up there at the moment are 4 Abu Dhabi Racing, who were 2nd, and 1 Dalma Marine, who were 5th. There are the leaders, Qatar 94, but who is going to emerge behind them in 2nd place? There's the answer. Abu Dhabi Racing are still there, so I reckon it must have been Dalma Marine that we saw somersaulting through the air. And if that's right, it means the reigning champions are out of the race. That's 17 Rahib turning back to offer assistance, and in the background looks like the Americans, Pro Marine, have already stopped as well. Right, here's a replay from Fazza the moment they ran over the buoy. A big old thud, and that's what slowed them down enough to allow Dalma Marine to draw alongside. Into the next turn side by side, but Dalma either make a mistake or have a problem with the boat, which sends them completely off course. Now look to the right of the picture, they actually hit the Corniche wall and somersault over the top of it before landing back in the water on the other side. For whatever reason, Dalma were a long way off the race course there, and that's what sent them into the wall. Back live, and I can see one of the crew walking along the upturned boat, the medical team quick to react, some precautionary checks on the other, but happily they're both out of the water and any immediate danger. So disaster for Dalma Marine, crashing out after running completely off the racecourse, but the incident is off the racing line, so we can continue without the red flag, and that's good news for Khalid Al Shamlan and throttleman Mohammed Al Nasser in Qatar 94, because they maintain a healthy lead at the start of lap 2. On board with La Vida Loca in 3rd, chasing Abu Dhabi Racing, and up ahead, it looks like they've got totally out of shape there. Indeed, it's a half spin from the number 4 boat as they veer into the inside of the course. They get around the buoy though, and as we go back on board with the Italians, it seems the gap is about the same as it was. So the Emirates team remain in second place. Back with Fazza in fourth, perhaps closing the gap a little. If you look through the front windscreen, you can clearly see the weight coming from La Vida Loca. Meanwhile, this is Kingfisher, who started fifth, which is where they finished in Dubai. Dropped to seventh at the start, but with Dalma Marine crashing and its aftermath, Britain's Ian Blacker and Gavin Parsonage are now back up to fifth place. Here's Pro Marine having stopped to assist Dalma Marine. Gary Ballow and Paul Whittier are now a lap down and heading back to port in the belief that they'll be reinstated in the results in their race position before the incident happened. And by my reckoning, that'll be seventh place. Well, we certainly had an interesting start to the race as round one winners and last year's champions Dalma Marine crashed out of the race on lap one. Here's a review of the start from our satellite tracking. A narrow course, so the fleet was split into two rather than the usual single line. Qatar 94 shot straight into the lead. La Vida Loca, Fazza and Abu Dhabi Racing all battling for second as the pole sitters Dalma Marine slipped back to fifth. They crashed shortly afterwards, and that now gives their main rivals, Qatar 94, an opportunity to move into the championship lead. They've led this race from the start and are now a full 10 seconds clear of boat 4, Abu Dhabi Racing, in second place. There's the Abu Dhabi boat taking the top turn at over 100 kilometres per hour, showing the same sort of speed here that they did in Dubai, where they're on course for a podium until technical problems hit late on and put them back to 10th place. But they're only 2.5 seconds clear of the Italians, La Vida Loca, in third place, and they in turn are just 1.85 seconds clear of Fazza in fourth. La Vida Loca looking for another good result here after finishing fourth in round one at Dubai. On board with Fazza in fourth place, and they're now definitely the quicker of these three boats battling for second, and they're free to go for it because they're 14 seconds clear of Kingfisher in fifth place. As they de-accelerate into the next turn, you can see the gap between Fazza and La Vida Loca come right down. Fazza able to carry a lot more speed into the corner without drifting wide. In fact, Binhendi holds it very tight to the mark and then gets a face full of wash from the back of La Vida Loca. The boat tilting precariously, but eventually there's daylight again and they emerge the right way up. Lost a chunk of time though, really catching that wake violently, and they look back with some frustration, but probably also a little relief. Here's more action, this time between 14 Kingfisher and 20 Zavitsi Fondiari, who are charging past them and going through to fifth place. There's Ian Blacker aboard Kingfisher, trying to keep the throttle nailed. They're a couple of lengths back, but the Italians run wide through the turn, and they try to keep the power down, but it's a chance for Kingfisher to charge back inside. But Zavitsi are going to get there first, close the door and seal the deal. Here's Raymond Sport doing well inside the top 10, and they might be about to pick up another place as one boat gets into a spin. By the looks of the colour scheme, that's 22 Spirit of U.A.E. Now they've kept it running, but they're going to have to swing it around the inside of the course, then get back up to speed from a standing start. And while they're doing all of that, 3 or 4 of their rivals come flying past. And you don't need to be a lip reader to know that driver Ahmed Al-Suwaidi is not best pleased. Here's one of the boats that's moved ahead, Abu Dhabi Racing Team 2. They failed to finish the first race of the season, but having a much better run here inside the top 10, but being chased hard by 69, Cosa Nostra, Alex Baroni and Francois Pinelli looking to improve on their 12th place finish in Dubai. Behind them, it's the Spirit of U.A.E. boat back on the inside of the racecourse, and then nearest to us, the white 44 boat of Al Hajj Group, which had to come from the back of the pack, having not raced in the opening round. Spirit of U.A.E. trying not to lose another place then as they hit the turn. You can see how tight it is between the pair, the Al Hajj boat in front, but having to stay out wide. That gives them more distance to cover, but they're no match for the U.A.E. boat on the tight inside line. And at the head of this midfield scrap, here's 24, Karpisa Yamamei, another boat that's had to come from the back, having retired from round one. And just ahead, it's number 9, Al Kuwain, who've done the same thing. They're now running 7th and 8th following that spin from the Spirit of U.A.E.